Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. So let's start with today's session. Let me quickly share my screen and set the agenda, what exactly we are doing today. And hopefully during the weekend you guys were able to complete whatever we did last week. If anyone has any questions, any doubt, please do let me know. We can take that first before starting any new topic. Anyone has any doubt, guys, from the sessions which we have done till now? Anyone tried doing it at the first place? No one? Guys have to start taking names. Nikhil, Saurav, Babatunde, anyone tried doing it?
No, Rohit, actually I've been to native, so I could not.
Okay, no problem. Anyone else who tried? Saurav? I don't have a dual screen today, so I will be doing okay. Perfect, no problem, guys. As long as you do it by yourself, and if there's any doubt, then please do let me know. We can discuss over the call so that all others can also understand where exactly we are. Okay, no problem. So today there are a couple of topics which we are covering today. First, this is the topic which is pending since very long, custom image, and very important topic is VMSS, virtual machine scale sets. Okay, this is the two things which we try to cover today, and if time permits, then we'll have something called disaster recovery. Basically, how do we make our application HA? HA is highly availability. Okay, so this is typo. Custom image. What exactly is custom image first? So whenever we create a VM, okay, and we were on the VM, we were deploying an application. So in our case, we were deploying Apache 2, correct, wherein we were just displaying a very simple line, welcome to devopsmela page. That's it. So that becomes my custom image. Okay, well, what I was using Ubuntu OS in the backend, and on top of it I was deploying some sort of application. Now if you want to create multiple VMs using the same image, give me 1 minute, this got stuck. So give me 1 minute, guys. Someone joined and this got stuck right now. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, you guys can see my screen.
Yes, Rohit.
Perfect. So what I was saying, we had created an application. We have created a VM. On top of the VM, we have deployed Apache HTTPD application. And now, why do we need a custom image at the first place? Now, you need a custom image when you want to create multiple copies of your image. So, if you want to create multiple VMs, okay. So, what is the best way of creating similar, identical? I'm talking about if you want to create multiple identical VMs, to be very specific. So, what do? Either go and follow the same process again, create a VM, create an image, deploy an application, and XYZ. That standard process follow, and you will create one VM at a time. Or once you have created a VM, create an image out of it, and once the image is created, you can create 20 VMs simultaneously at the same time. That is the use of custom image. This is basically used for development and testing purpose. You can create such VMs and you can use for development and testing purpose. Mostly we use it for that. And once the image is created, the image will support up to 20 simultaneously deployments. So that is the beauty of custom image. So before I go and show you how do we capture a custom image, let's go and create a VM and let's set up a Apache, the same thing what we are doing since very long. The same thing I'll be doing it again. Later all this what we are doing it with the portal, I'll be doing it through ARM or CLI templates, guys. So we'll not be doing this way. So as if now, let's do it East US. I'm not selecting any availability option. I'll just keep it as it is. And keys, I'll make use of okay. So I'll just open the port 80 and port 22. SSH is to connect and port 80 when my to access the Apache server setup what we do. Rest everything will remain as it is. Disable. Okay. So I'm creating an image I'm creating a VM. Inside this VM I'll go and deploy my Apache server. Post that, we'll go and create a custom image. We'll see how the image is created, and then we'll see using this image what exactly we can do. Okay, just let's wait while the VM is getting created. So when we create this VM, guys, there are certain user IDs, root IDs are getting created, and there are certain personal information is getting added, like your home directory. So if you have seen, I've created a ID devopsmela while creating this virtual machine. So basically what's happening, that user is getting created on the VM. So when you're capturing any image, all this information needs to be deprovisioned. What do I mean by deprovision? All this thing needs to be removed. So once the installation is done, I'll show you how do we deprovision, how do we remove all this, because once that is removed, then only you can start the process of creating an image. And if those information are still there on your virtual machine, there is a great chance that you may corrupt your image. You have to remove, you have to deprovision your VM first, then only you can capture any image. Okay, I'll show you that later. Let's log into the VM first and let's set up the image. So this is how I'm logging in right now using my user ID. So all this information needs to be deprovisioned. This user ID, the root user, all this access needs to be removed. See, as if now I'm just logging in because I want to set up Apache and everything. Okay, let's quickly go and set up Apache. I have to update. It was Apache 2. Okay, this all what we are doing it manually. We can write a shell script also to do all this automatically, guys. And during the init process, when the VM is coming up, at that time I can run the shell script automatically. So even this is possible. You don't have to do everything manually each time. So while the VM comes up, all these steps will get executed automatically and you'll have your web server running. Wait. Perfect. Let's go and add a line to it so that we come to know this is the images. This is our image. So let's add echo. Welcome to devopsmela. Okay, perfect. The file is, the static file is saved under var www html index.html. Okay, let's exit out of from sudo and let's do a restart the web server once. Apache 2. Okay, perfect. Let's verify if we have the things installed or not. Welcome to devopsmela. This is working as expected. Now what is my requirement? I got this VM, I have my web server installed which is hosting my static page. Now I want to create multiple VMs using this same, whatever we have it in this, using the same web server and Apache and all. One way is the way we did it, the standard way, go and launch and do it again and again. The second and very useful way is creating an image out of this VM, the VM which we are using right now. Creating an image out of it, storing the image in our Azure portal, then using that image creating multiple VMs. Okay, so this is how you will be creating your own custom image. So wherever you go, so using a custom image you can create, as I said earlier, you can create 20 VMs simultaneously. You can do 20 deployments simultaneously. How do we create an image? As I said earlier, you can create an image. Before creating an image, you have to deprovision all your personal information. What do I mean by personal information? Your user ID, your root user, and all this information needs to be deprovisioned. Without deprovisioning the image, you cannot go and create an image out of this VM. And one important thing to be noticed over here, as soon as you deprovision, your VMs will not be accessible. These VMs will be completely gone. The only option you will have to delete this VM. So as soon as you deprovision, remember this guys, this VM will not be accessible. Whether it's a Linux VM, whether it's a Windows VM, because what will happen when you do a deprovision, it will delete all their information, login information, all information which is not required while creating the VM. Why do we do deprovision? Because when you create a VM, you don't want to share your sensitive information. User ID, root IDs these are sensitive information. So Azure tries its best to not to share sensitive information when an image is getting created. Okay, so that is what deprovisioning means. Do not share any personal information when you're creating an image out of a VM. Keep that in mind. This could be an interview question. Okay. So how do we deprovision? The command to deprovision, I'll write the command sudo wa agent. This is the command hyphen. Then you can just write deprovision plus user. So basically you're telling you're deprovisioning, so plus user. So this is the command guys. Keep it handy. I'll put it over here for your reference. Okay. Make sure to run this. This is for Linux. It will not work for Windows. Windows have a set of different process. For Linux, this is the command. Okay, see what warnings I'm getting. The W agent service will be stopped. Cache DSC release will be deleted. Root password will be disabled. You will not be able to log in as a root. Resolve.config, it will not be removed. This is a behavior change to earlier version of Ubuntu. devopsmela account and the entire home directory will be deleted. So my account, my personal account which we have created while creating this VM will be deleted and removed completely. Okay, makes sense? Let's click yes. Done. The deprovisioning has been done. If I go and close this window and try to log back in, it will not allow me. It's gone, completely gone. So I'll just close this window. Now the first process of deprovisioning is done. The second is to capture the image. Now once you're done with the deprovisioning, you can go ahead and capture the image. How do we capture the image? It's by clicking on this button at the top, capture. Don't do this before deprovisioning. If you do before deprovisioning, firstly it will not allow you at the first place. Secondly, there is a great chance that you may hamper your image. So your image may get corrupted and many other sort of things may happen. Okay. Now once I click on capture, see create an image. So I'm creating an image, resource group, region is all. Share image to Azure Compute Gallery. So Compute Gallery is basically, it's again a location. If you keep your images over there, so it gives you additional features such as versioning, sharing, and many features like how we get it in artifacts. So such features you get it in Gallery. Gallery is nothing but a location where your images get stored. Okay. Again, there are additional charges for this Compute Gallery, guys. If you want to use it, then you can say yes, it will create a gallery for you, and post that you can start sharing your images. Whenever there is a change in the image, it will go and version the image, like version 1.1, 1.2, whatever way you want to tag it, it will go and start tagging it. And other important features of gallery, it will also allow you easily you can connect using gallery, you can connect to many services of Azure, and you can share it with others. These are the some additional features which you get it with gallery, but it comes with a cost. Gallery, you can imagine gallery as a where you put your source code and you share it with others and things like that. You can imagine that way. For now, I'm not creating this gallery. I'll just stick with no capture, only a manage image. I just want an image using which I will be using I'll be creating multiple VMs. Automatically delete the virtual machine. As I said, the virtual machine of no use. Once you deprovision, your virtual machine is of no use. There is no root user, there is no personal information. So if you just click on it, what will happen? The VM will get deleted automatically. Zone resiliency. Do you want to store your image which you're creating in multiple zones? If yes, then you can go and select zone resiliency ticked. So what will happen? Your image will be created in multiple zones. Remember availability zone, which we covered on Friday. This is what zone resiliency means. For now, I'll just stick with review and create. Guys, anyone has any question till now? This image creation is very important, guys. If you are working on cloud and if you want to create multiple copies of a VM, this is how the image creation can help you out with. And the next step, the virtual machine scale set, which we are covering, I'll show you why exactly I have created the image. Because yeah.
Excuse me, how do you get to the image creation tab?
Okay, I'm trying to understand how do we get to what?
Yeah, I mean, how do you navigate to the create image tab
Okay, how do we
after the provisioning you're trying to create the image. So how did you get it?
okay, I'll tell you. So this is the place where we were when we did the deprovision. We came to the VM page, we clicked on virtual machine and we came to this page. Okay, now at the top, do you see there's an option of capture? This portion, this is the place. When you click on it, if I click, nothing will happen now because my VM is getting deleted right now. If you see, deleting the virtual machine. So when you click on capture, it will show you that page wherein I was putting all the information related to the image. After deprovisioning, come to the VM and click on this capture option. See, this is how it will look like. And just review and create. Your image will be created. Now the other question, how do we access the image? Okay, once the image is created, how do we access it? Then there are multiple ways that you can have a images at the top, and you can see your image right over here. See, it gave the name automatically, VM1 image, and this is some random numbers, and this is your image. This is your image is created over here. Okay, now using this image you can create VM, clone VM image, delete, and many things you can do directly from here. Make sense? Audio?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before the process of capturing, so if I want to reopen the VM again, so will it be done or not?
No, if you have done the deprovisioning, you will not be able to access the VM post that. So
Okay.
deprovisioning means your VM will be deprovisioned, all your information using which you will be able to log in and things like that, that will be deleted completely, sort of.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now I want to delete one more thing. I want to delete the nick card because this is a free tier account. The next topic which I'm covering is virtual machine skill set, and over there I need 3 public IPs. So this is not required if you're not using a free tier, but because it is a free tier, I have to delete all other things. The reason is clear, because it will not, when I go and launch my virtual machine skill set, because I already have a public IP assigned over here, it will not allow me create that. Okay, that is the whole purpose why I'm deleting, or it is not required. But this is no point of keeping it, because your virtual machine, if you see in all your resources, your virtual machine is already deleted. So there's no point of keeping all the other information of the virtual machine. Okay, so just keeping the image as it is, I'm just deleting all other things. Now while this is deleting, we'll come to the next topic, that is virtual machine skill set. Now we have seen availability zone, we have seen availability set. What is availability zone? Nothing but in the region there are 3 zones: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. And in availability zone, if you select availability zone, your resources are getting replicated on other zones, making it highly available. What is availability set? Within the zone, within the racks, there are multiple fault tolerance, and update domain is getting assigned, making sure whenever there is a restart, no identical VMs are getting restarted at a time. All your application is not down if there's any update or patching is happening. That is what availability zone, availability set was all about. Okay, a quick recap. Now what is virtual machine skill set? What is virtual machine skill set? So virtual machine skill set lets you create, okay, one more topic we did, load balancer. What exactly load balancer was all about? It's to balance the load. You have multiple VMs and you have applications running on VMs, and if you want to balance your traffic at the network layer, if you want to balance the traffic, how it is coming in and it is equally distributed across multiple VMs, then at that place you will be using load balancer. Load balancer even gives you an additional security, because all the traffic, all your public IP of load balancer is getting exposed, not your VM public IPs. Plus all your traffic is getting routed through load balancer. In case of DOS attack, what is DOS? Denial of services. When there are hackers are putting millions of hit on your website. So in that cases, your load balancer will be down. Your VM is not getting impacted. You can simply switch the load balancer and the DOS attack will be stopped. Then you can figure out how do we fix such issues. Okay. Even load balancer will help you with such security. There are other things also, guys, firewall, many things which you can work on. But for now, this is what we have learned. Now, what this out of this box virtual machine skill set is all about? Virtual machine skill set lets you create and manage group of load balancer VMs. Now all this we were doing manually, correct? Availability set, zone, replication was happening. Then in load balancer I was adding VMs manually. All this was happening manually. This is all a process which can help you achieve high availability and resiliency. But these are all segregated, correct? These are all one process which we're talking about. If we club all this together, like having a load balancer, having a feature of availability set, then you can create a highly available and redundant infrastructure for yourself. That is what virtual machine is all about. Virtual machine scale set is all about. So Azure Compute helps you to provide high availability and better performance to your application by creating and managing group of identical load balanced VMs. Guys, keep in mind, every time I'm using identical word. What do I mean by identical? Same set of web application. Your same set of application, same set of VM, which is serving the same purpose. That is what identical means. If suppose you have two different applications, then it will not come in one VM skill set. It will be into different. So if it's identical, a group like you have 100 VMs, so you have to give it to your virtual machine skill set and it will go and manage that thing for you automatically. We'll see it. So what are the other features of benefits of skill set? It is very easy to create and you can very easily manage multiple VMs. It provides high availability and application resiliency by distributing the VM across zones. So automatically it will go and make use of availability zone feature and it will go and distribute your application in multiple zones. It will allow your application to automatically scale up as resource demand changes. It will allow your applications. What do I mean by allow your application to scale up? There is a demand. Like suppose you have created 3 VMs initially for your serving your application. Now there are sudden demand. There is a festive season going on. You're using a shopping website and suddenly there is a demand. Now you want to add 3 more VMs. So scale set will automatically do the scale up and scale down for you. There are profiles which we can create. Based on that profile, it will go and scale up your VMs automatically. Then it will scale down your VM when the demand is gone. It works at a large scale. Guys, this thing works at a very large scale. If you see, support up to 1000 VMs with your own custom images, up to 600 VMs. So this much of support. At once you can create 1000 VMs in virtual machine skill set. That kind of support we are talking about. Though in the free tier you will not have 1000 VMs, guys. So you have to ask Azure, tell them this is your load. You are expecting a load of 1000 VM. Then they will provision that much of quota to you. So you cannot launch 1000 VMs even in pay as you go. You have to ask what Azure, request them. This is what we are planning in future. Then they will assign that much of quota to you. The number of VMs can automatically increases or decreases is response to demand or in defined scheduled. So there are two ways you can increase the number of VMs. Firstly, either you schedule it. You know that during this time, from 1 PM to 5 PM, I will have high demands because those are my office hours. At that time, if you want to schedule some more additional VMs, you can do it on schedule basis. And there are other things like you don't know that when there will be a high demand on my website. At that time, you can have metrics like if there is a CPU spike, if there is a memory spike, if there is a network in and out spike. There are other metrics using which you can automatically scale your VM up and scale your VM down. So all this will be done automatically. Okay, in virtual machine skill set. Make sense, guys? This is what virtual machine skill set is all about. This is how your virtual machine skill set will look like. At the top you will have people accessing things from internet. In between you will have your load balancer, and this line which you see, the dotted line which you see, this is your virtual machine skill set, and inside this you have your VMs. How exactly this VM was created? This VMs was created using the custom image. Now that is the reason I have created a custom image, because I'll be creating a virtual machine skill set using this custom image. So your image is running in all this VMs, and this is all managed by virtual machine skill set. What we were doing in load balancer, we were creating our own load balancer, we were adding VMs to it, all that we were doing manual. Now this is what virtual machine skill set will do. It will automatically manage things for you. Make sense? Any questions, guys? Anyone? Any doubt? Any questions? No questions? Okay, no problem. Let's go and see this in practical. So we'll follow the same image what you see right now. I'll go to the portal using my custom image. We already have a custom image. We'll create a virtual machine skill set. Hopefully things are deleted now. It's still deleting. Let's refresh and see. Yeah, it's all deleted. So in order to create a virtual machine skill set, just do VMSS. This is what virtual machine skill set is all about. If you read through it, create a virtual machine skill set to deploy and manage load balance set of identical Windows or Linux virtual machines. Use auto scale to automatically scale virtual machine resources in and out. Okay. So let's go and create a virtual machine skill set. Select the same resource group. Skill set name, give a name as VMSS dev. Availability zone, even the skill set, if you want to distribute into multiple availability zone, you can go and do it, guys. What if your skill set gets deleted? What if there's an issue where your skill set is hosted, your skill set has some issues? So in order to avoid, if you want to create multiple zones, this also you can do it. You can select all the 3 zones. Okay, I'm not selecting, because what will happen if I select this, it will create multiple VMs in those skill sets. This is very important. Orchestration mode, because what's happening right now in your skill set, it's automatically scaling up VMs, it's based on demand, and it is automatically scaling down your VM based on demand. This is what orchestration means, correct? You are orchestrating all your resources based on the requirement. So there are 2 types of orchestration mode. Uniform. So basically uniform is used for large scale stateless workload with identical VMs. If you have identical VM and the processing is stateless. What is stateless? What is stateless and stateful? Stateless, in a very simple layman term, if there's a request coming in, there's nothing getting saved on your end server and the response is getting sent back. That is what stateless. And on the other end, the stateful is when there's a request come, the request is getting processed at your end server, the records are getting saved on your end server, then we are expecting a response out of it. That is what stateful application. This is all application jargons, stateless, stateful. Keep this in mind. Very important. They may ask you what is stateless and stateful in an interview. Workloads. So if you see uniform supports large scale stateless workload with identical VMs. On the other hand, flexible is achieves high availability at scale with identical or multiple virtual machine types. With flexible orchestration, Azure provides a very unified experience. So what exactly it can, with flexible orchestration, Azure guarantees you high availability. You can spin up to 1000 VMs with flexible. This is that flexible, and which will be spread across multiple fault domain. Remember fault domain? What is a fault domain? A rack with its own power supply with its own network. Remember, that is what fault domain. Availability set. Go back and remember availability set. So with flexible, Azure guarantees you high availability. So you can spin up to 1000 VMs and it will be spread across multiple fault domain in a region or within an availability zone. So this is kind of a older one, guys, uniform one, and this is kind of the newer version, flexible orchestration. Okay, so we'll go with flexible for now. Security type, we'll keep it standard. Image, you can use images which is available, or you can have your own image created. We have your own image, correct, guys? This is what we are trying to achieve. Custom image. We have your own image inside my images. If you go and see, this is your own image. I've selected my own image. This is the whole purpose, because when I want to create a virtual machine scale set, I want that all my images needs to be the custom image which we have created, that needs to be part of my virtual machine scale set. Size, I'll stick with 1 vCPU, 1 gig memory. Password, I'll have it devopsmela. Test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. License type, this is Ubuntu. I'll stick with others. Disk, it's okay. Networking, automatically a virtual network will be created. A NIC card will be added. Now this is the place wherein you can do a load balancer. You can create your load balancer, correct? So I can have a Azure load balancer created. I don't have a load balancer, so I can basically create a load balancer over here. I'll name it as VMSS LB. Okay. Type of load balancer, public. I'm talking about this part, guys. This part. This. Okay. Rules, inbound rules I'll not add for now. I'll just stick with load balancer rule. So my request will come on port 80 and the request will be served on port 80 itself. Okay. So from public, I'll get request on port 80, and from my VMs, the backend pool, even it will be port 80. Done. Scaling. This is where you can do the scaling. Initial count, you'll have number of 2 VMs will be created initially, because at least minimum you require 2 VMs, guys. So that is the reason 2. Scaling policy, I'll keep it manual for now. I'll show you how exactly this will change to custom. Management, there's nothing. I'll disable the boot diagnostic first. Spreading algorithm. This is the beauty of flexible, guys. Spreading algorithm is using of update domain and fault domain. So if you read through this, the spreading algorithm determines how VMs in the scale set are balanced across fault domains. This will automatically make sure how your VMs are spread across multiple fault domains and update domains. If you have this max spreading set. Fixed spreading, then you have to put the numbers. This is max spreading, will automatically do it for you. Okay. So that is the reason I said everything, whatever topics I cover, those are interrelated. Okay. So the whatever we did last week, this is the continuation what we're doing right now. Okay. So make sure you guys are up to speed and do things beforehand. Now let's go and review and create. Okay. Now when you review and create, so basically what exactly we have created. What we have created a load balancer. Under the load balancer, we have created this virtual machine scale set. Under the virtual machine scale set, as if now I'm creating 2 VMs, VM1, VM2, give it whatever name you want to give it. That way the name will not be assigned. It will be an auto-generated name. This is what the setup we are creating. I've created using this portal, and all these VMs are getting created using this custom image. So basically when the VM scale set is ready, if I try to access this application, I should get to my page, hello, welcome to devopsmela. That page I should get it. And now in load balancer, I was distributing the traffic, creating the VMs by myself. This will be automatically done. Automatically my page will be served from the VM. Make sense? Any questions till now? What is virtual machine scale set and anything related to virtual machine scale set? Any confusion? No confusion, guys? Nikhil, Ivanu, Rohit, Sebastian, Tejas.
No, Rohit. Understood.
Great.
But do we have that minimum, maximum, and desired number of it gets
Yes, yes,
allocated?
yes. Yeah. So we'll be setting up scaling policies. We haven't
Okay.
done it. We kept it manual for now. For purpose, I've done it manual.
Okay.
Later, I'll show you how do we customize the scaling policy. Yeah. So we
Yes.
can do it.
Okay.
I have a question. So, in the process of creating multiple VMs, how do you manage the password? Are you going to use a unified password for the multiple VMs?
Okay, very good question, David. No, will not have any. You will not be having access to that VMs. Firstly, you will be having access to the load balancer now. I'll show you. So you will be, if there's anything you need to do, you will doing at this. So this load balancer will, it's also a VM now. So that is the reason I have at the early stage I said I need 3 VMs will be created initially. You will be able to access this. Through this you'll be able to access the VMs. So suppose beneath this VM scale set there are 100 VMs. So through the load balancer only you will be managing everything. So this load balancer is kind of a master node for you. Just take it as master and worker nodes. So this is the master from which you will be, through which you will be managing all your underlying VMs. In reality, all these VMs are behind a private IP. In reality, all these are behind your private IP. And this is the only thing which is getting exposed to internet. In reality. Okay? Make sense, David? So
Yes.
each VMs you will not be managing, because that is the whole purpose of using scale set, because it will be automatically managed by Azure. Okay guys, so I have my scale set ready. Let's go and, where is my scale set? Let's go and look into the scale set, how it looks. Now this IP what you see, the standard is B12 instance got created successfully. This IP is nothing but your load balancer IP, guys. Don't get confused, that is not your VM IPs. Your VMs will have the same. If you go and look into the VM, it will have the same IPs. Okay, this is your load balancer IP. Okay, if you go and look into the instance, these are the 2 instances which was created, and if you can look into the network policy, you can see there is a port 80 which is allowed, and if you go to the load balancer, this is your load balancer IP. If you go inside more, you will see the front end IP. Inside the load balancer, if you go and see, you will see your front end IP. Using this front end IP, you can access your application. It's the same thing which you saw at the first place. Welcome to devopsmela. Correct? Now this is how you will be accessing things. Now everything is happening, all your request is coming through internet on the load balancer, and the load balancer is reaching out to the VMs and taking up the request. This is all happening automatically. Nothing, you are not hitting the VMs directly now. It's all happening from load balancer. The load balancing is playing, and within this availability set, if there's any load, any network issues, any VM, number of VM needs to be increased, everything will be done automatically. Okay. Now, I think someone asked, how do we log in, correct? How do we log in? You will not log into the VMs. You will not log into the instance. Where you will log in, you will log into the load balancer. you will be logging to the load balancer. Like this is the place where you will log in. This is the IP which you will be using to log in. Now firstly, you cannot log in right now because we have not enabled any port. We have not enabled port 22. We have not opened that port. Okay, that is the first place. So first thing what you have to do, you have to go to your VMSS. Under VMSS, go to networking, allow inbound port. What is the port? 22. You want to log into your load balancer, correct? Port 22 allowed. So what you did, you added port 22. Still you cannot log in. Still, even after opening the port 22, if you try to log in, you will not be able to log in because there is no NAT. You need to add a NAT rule. Using the NAT rule, I will be able to log in. How do we add the NAT rule? The NAT rule will be added inbound NAT rule because the network traffic coming from outside, you want to divert that network traffic from port 22 to your VM now. Because through load balancer you will be able to log in. Now how will you log in? It's through this load balancer you will be able to log into any of these VMs. So you have to add a NAT rule between the load balancer and between the Azure virtual machine skill sets. So that is what you need to do. Then only you can log into your internal VMs, guys. How do we add the NAT rules? You can simply go to your load balancer. I'm adding the NAT rule on the load balancer. Keep that in mind. I'm adding my NAT rule over here. So that the request is coming from port 22 from internet. Using the NAT, it will come to know, okay, where to direct. Then it will go and direct the login access. Then you can access your VMs basically. I'll show you how exactly it is done. Come to inbound NAT tool. Under your load balancer, where exactly I am? I'm under the load balancer. I'm inside the inbound NAT rule. I'm adding a rule. Give name, whatever name you want to give. NAT LB. Target machine skill set. These are the skill set you can select. These are all your VMs, guys. Okay. Or you can just select backend pool. B pool. This way also you can do it. Or if you want to be specific that I want to log into VMS dev this, you can be specific also. Network IP configuration, you can select your virtual network. Front end IP address, you can select one of the VM. See, this is your front end. Which is this? This is your load balancer VMSS. Front end port, from where the request will come in. Which port? 22. What is the port? SSH. Service tag. What will be the backend port? Port 22. Correct? Idle timeout, you can keep it 10. Add. I'm not allowing floating IP. Floating IP is like multiple IPs will get added. Will get floated around. I want fixed IP because we have a fixed IP, correct? Dynamic IP has been allocated, so I'll stick with that. So what did I do? In order to access my VMs, if you want to log into the VM as an administrator, guys, again, making sure you are not confused. Only the administrator will be logging into the VMs. Your developer and all will not log in. The developer has the VM. The developer responsibility is just to deploy things over here, make changes to the image version. That's it. And for any administrative purpose, like for you are the admin, just imagine you are the administrator, you want to do some sort of patching activity, update activity on the VMs. At that time you will be using this login. That time you will be adding this NAT and all, and you will be logging to the VMs. Unnecessary, you will not open port 22. Remember, port 22 is a very generic. If you are opening such doors, there is a very great chance that you will allow your hackers to take access to your VMs. So unnecessary, you will not do it. Whenever there is a requirement, then you may go and do such things. Again, this will be only done by administrators, not everyone, and definitely no DevOps engineers. Even DevOps engineer will be using this VMSS just to deploy the changes through pipelines. That's it. Okay, makes sense? I have the port open. Now can I access using this front end IP? This is the same IP, guys. I'm just accessing this IP from multiple sources. That's it. It's the same IP. If you go and look into your load balancer, your VMs, this is the same IP which has been assigned to everyone, because the load balancer IP got assigned to everyone. How do we access? Now let's go and open bash. devopsmela at this is, I'll put the load balancer IP now. See, I'm able to access now. Put in the password. Done. See where I'm connected. I'm connected to my virtual machine skill set. Now if you want to make any changes, do it over here. It will be applicable to all your underlying VMs. This is how you will be able to log into your in the virtual machine skill set. You will not have direct access to the VM. This is how you will be able to do administrative tasks. See all the information regarding what's happening right now, how many users are logged in, what are the process, IP address, everything. You'll get information once you logged in. Make sense, guys? Make sense? So this is how you will be logging to the VM on a virtual machine skill set. Now I think Saurav has asked about the scaling. As if now we have kept the scaling option to manual. In the manual I have just kept number of instance count at 2. So what will happen? There is a 2 VMs already there right now, so nothing will happen. If there is a high load, nothing will happen. No other additional VMs will be getting added. So that is, if you want to avoid such things, you can go and put custom auto scale. So this basically will be creating policies over here. In the custom auto scale, you will be adding your own policy. This is the default policy which we have added. Specific instance count to be 2. To any given point of time you need a instance counts to be 2. But due to some unforeseen reason, like suppose the CPU is spiked or if you want to schedule something, at that time you can have more additional things added. Like for example, if you want to add a scale condition, you want to add some VMs during midnight. Suppose, let me take Indian Standard only. I'm taking Indian Standard Time. What is the time right now? 9:38 AM. So just imagine during 12 AM, or if I want to take it as 1, or take it as 13, that is 1 PM, and doing 1 PM till, take it 16, till this time I want number of instance count to increase by 4. During this time period, just imagine this is a US application, and during the midnight of US there is a big spike. So at that time you want the instance count to be 4. At that time this number of 2 VMs what you see right now, it will automatically increase by 4. If you want to have, this is for daily, this is the situation. So what will happen after this time duration is passed? Automatically this number of instance 4 will go back to 2. It will go back to this number automatically. If you want any specific date, only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, only weekdays, even that is possible. You can do it, even that is possible. Okay. This is scheduled scaling in and scaling out, which you can do. The second also you can do metric wise. Let me add one more scale. You can select a metric. A rule needs to be added, guys. There is no rule added right now, so I can go and click on this add a rule. Now these are the conditions which you can select: percentage CPU, memory, data in and out, OS, network out. There are so many things you can select from. For now we'll stick with percentage CPU. If you want to see the average of your current uses right now, you can see what is the average. This is the average of my CPU right now, 0.37%. This is the average of CPU which is getting consumed right now. Now if you want to enable metrics like greater than 60, if the CPU threshold is greater than 60, then for more than duration is 10, I'll keep it 5. Like for continuously the CPU threshold is going above 60 for more than 5 minutes, then I'll increase the count by 1. I'll increase the VM count by, go and increase the VM count by 1. Like now at 9:41 the CPU started spiking. It is above 70 plus now. Till 9:45 it will see the CPU spike, it's still constant for 5 minutes. Then at 9:46 it will go and create one VM. Again it's not coming down, the CPU is not coming down. Again it will check for next 5 minutes. If it is again spiking, it will go and add one. This way it will go keep on adding one VMs for you. And when the CPU percentage comes down, imagine the CPU percentage comes down, again it will wait for 5 minutes. See, okay, the CPU is below 50 now. It will start removing one instance now. It will, the whatever additional thing it has added, it will go and start removing those conditions, VMs to you. So this is all done automatically, the scaling in, scaling out process. Now this is, I've just showed you for CPU. You can even have for memory. You can add one more condition. You can have for memory. Now this is for CPU, available memory. If you want to have memory, so these are the current memory average. If you want to see, this is the average. If you want to scale, greater than equal to, these are the operators which you can add. More than 80 bytes, something like this. 8000 bytes you can have, depending upon what you want. And you can include your number of VMs, and you can scale in, scale out based on your requirement. Okay, so this is 3 profiles we have added. One is a default, that instance count at any given point of time we need 2 VMs. Now this is the schedule one, this is the metric one. If I save it, if any of the scenario meets, I'll have a new VM getting created. And during the schedule, I'll have 4 extra VMs will be created. Definitely it will not get created right now because we are in free tier, guys, and it will not allow to create more VMs and adding more to my public IP. But if you go as pay as you go, or when you're working for your company, definitely these profiles will work by sure. This is how you will be doing a scaling in and scaling out. In virtual machine skill set, you can add this profiles. These are the profiles, guys. These are the profiles, and using these profiles, you can be rest assured if you have deployed any live application on VMSS, that automatically the scaling in, scaling out, the high availability, the high redundancy, your resiliency, everything is taken care by VMSS. Again, it comes with a cost, so never forget to go and check the Azure calculator before using all these services. Okay guys, any questions till now? Anyone? Anyone? Any questions, any doubt, any confusion, anything as such? No questions? So yeah, I totally get it. You guys have to go and practice this. Implement this by yourself. Check if everything is getting implemented as expected. Check the custom rule. Check adding the NAT rules. Don't add the NAT rules beforehand. Just add the load balancer when you're creating the VMSS. Once you added the load balancer, try and access the load balancer using the public IP. See whether you're able to access or not. Then post that allow port 22 on the network. Then go and add the NAT rules. Then try and access, see the difference. Now you'll understand the difference by yourself, before and after. Then you'll get an idea what's happening. Then you'll start building bricks, like what's happening, what I'm doing, what is the impact of that. So using this, you create a own diagram like a structure, then you will be able to implement this all without any failures. But yeah, definitely you have to try couple of times. At one go, I doubt you'll be able to implement all this, but make sure this is done. Now inside this monitoring, so this is, you can even see your CPU, your network, your disk and everything, your memory. This is how you can see the spikes. This is by default. If you create any VMs in Azure, such network monitoring, CPU and memory monitoring by default you can do in Azure. So you don't have to pay anything extra for this. This is just your network in and out charges, disk IO charges will be applicable over here. And automatically you can have your graph. This is coming in from Azure monitoring, guys. If you want more insight, then you need to set up Azure Insight. If you want to know more about your application, what all, if there is any error code, HTTP failure 400, 304, 302, all these error codes if you want to identify, then there is an option of Azure Insight to know more. Okay, for now this is more than enough. Okay. Disaster recovery is the DR. This is a topic which is remaining, so that is something I'll do it later. For now I think I should stop over here and give it to you guys to go and practice all this. Any questions before we wind up the call, guys? Hopefully you guys are getting what exactly I'm trying to tell you. And yeah, I know without practical experience you'll not understand anything, so you have to go and practice this all by yourself. Then only you'll have a better understanding what exactly we are doing. And make sure practice this, because after this week I'll be starting with actual DevOps topics, which will be way different. Okay, so make sure whatever time we are spending on Azure cloud, make sure you practice all this. And all these topics which I'm covering, this is for keeping security, availability and resiliency in mind. We are not learning cloud, guys, we are talking about security. We are eventually will be moving on DevSecOps, so that is what we are doing it right now. How do we secure, how do we scale, how do we make sure my application which is deployed on cloud is highly resilient? That is what we are doing it right now. Okay, so if there's no question, that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see.
Rohit, one question. Like we logged into this one scale set now. Similarly, can we log into custom image like the parent one?
Image, no. So you're talking
No.
about the images which we have over here.
Correct. Like we taken the reference.
No, you cannot. This is not a VM actually. This is just a file.
Okay.
It's a file created on your disk. That's it. Nothing else.
Okay. So whatever we are seeing, like welcome to DevOps, it's kind of a application, no?
Yeah, that's
application.
your web server application, correct.
If we want to, like, if there is some changes needed for that, then how to manage?
Again, new version of image needs to be created in that case. So in such cases, when you want to do such things, Pawan, very good question, then you need to have this image created inside Azure Gallery. In Gallery, you will have access to version your VMs. Now, in this case, what we did right now, in such cases, if you want to have a change to be done, for example, in such case, you have to do it again, go back, make changes, create an image and push the image. That is what in the right way. But if you have saved this image into an Azure Gallery, in that way, you can easily do versioning also over there, multiple image versioning. Okay, but for now, yeah, for answering to your question, very layman term, yes, you need to do things from scratch, create a new version of your image.
Yeah. So okay. Anyways, like as you said, like we need to create a new one. But if we want to save the old version, we need to use a gallery.
Gallery, yes.
Correct. No?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Let's meet up tomorrow and let's
Hello,
continue.
sorry to disturb. There is one question in
Tejas, yes, Tejas, tell me.
no in the
In the
chat
chat.
box.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so Windows VM image. It's very easy, sort of. It's the same process. The only thing is there is a file, the file which needs to be. I'll share you the link. Don't worry, sort of, in the group. Deprovisioning
Okay,
step.
thank
There is a link file which you need to go and execute in the VM. That's in C drive somewhere. It gets automatically created. I'll have to go and look Azure documentation where exactly which the path is, using which you can create an image easily. The only step will change, the deprovisioning step, sort of. Nothing else will change. Everything as it is. You create a VM. You like on Windows you'll be setting up IIS. On IIS you'll be deploying your application. Your application will be up and running on your Windows server. Then there's a deprovisioning step. You need to open PowerShell. You need to go to the path, run that script, post that, you can capture. The rest, every other process are same for Windows. If you want to install Apache 2 on Windows, even that is possible. Over there it will be HTTPD. But on Windows, if you're doing it for Windows, I'll ask you to set up IIS on it, not Apache. If you're doing it on Windows, okay?
okay,
Don't worry,
thank you.
I'll look into which path exactly it is and what is the command you have to run it for Windows, and I'll share it in the group.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anyone else, guys? Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Let's meet tomorrow and let's continue this topic.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.